Thank you for tuning in. Today we are working on healing um, any sort of attachment that we have to an outcome. So, the idea behind this healing is sometimes we step into a space of wanting things to be a particular way, meaning we typically do things by setting goals, right? By making a plan. So, we have a goal, we have some idea of how we want things to be, especially now when there's such a high level of this idea of manifesting what we want, right? There's what everybody's talking about, manifesting what you want, this kind of thing, right? So we have a goal or we have some sort of objective, right? There's something that we want to get from point A to point B, right? Well, this is working on releasing our attachment to the outcome and coming more into alignment with higher purpose and higher vibration in the present moment so we can be in this alignment to take the necessary or proper steps. Okay? So we can still say that, we let's say the outcome is that I want to be happy. I want what's of my highest good. We can have an outcome that it has like a purity of intention, without having that I need to marry this person, or I need to make this much every year, or I need to, you know what I mean? Or it needs to look this way and that way. Part of this is releasing from that outcome so that we can invite playfulness. We can invite presence. We can invite creative energy to kind of come in. But even more so with this particular healing, it's about aligning with those steps that help us to get from point A to point B, right? And sometimes, like, have you ever been driving somewhere and then like you miss your exit and then you have to turn around and it's kind of like, I had to turn around, I missed my exit, and you start getting frustrated and built up, but then you see something you've never seen before, or you have some sort of experience, or you learn something, or it's like that kind of thing like happened for a reason. And so looking at the outcome as being more of what type of experience do I want to feel versus what do I want my end result to be. I hope that makes sense. Maybe as we go through the tarot reading, the card reading, it'll help to kind of build a bigger story for you and help you see the bigger picture. So we're just going to move that over here out of the corner. All right, is the camera going to go back into focus here? Let me see, maybe if I there we go. Okay, good. All right, that's funny how that's happening too, because, it's like when it's out of focus, you don't really, you're not zooming in. So there's this idea of zooming in and zooming out, of being in focus versus not being in focus, not being able to see things clearly. And that's coming up through as part of this healing. We can't always see things clearly if we're attached to things being a certain way or them unfolding in a certain way. We kind of miss the mystery of a flower blooming if we're constantly like, well, when's it going to unfold? When am I get to smell the aroma, So anyways, we're going to start off with a card that's going to help us understand what is it in this healing process that we need to know and understand as we go through it. Oh, we got a card. Sorry about that. That was my chair, but it sounded like a trumpet. When they say like the angels sounded the trumpets, and it was like time for action or time to move forward. So the first thing that's coming through is this card here that says, in the world, not of the world. Okay? So this is that idea coming in about, it's this idea about what type of resonance frequency do we want to have in the world? Now, something that I love here is how open that she is to the flow of how things are happening. So you see all kinds of flowing energy, and that's what we want. We miss out on the flow, and you can see it, right? You think about people that are very structured and very organized, or, you think about somebody that like lives off an itinerary on vacation, and then we're checking in at this time, and we're going here, and we're going there, and there's not a lot of space for like, well, what if we just see something that looks fun and we want to go do that? Room for spontaneity. And the biggest thing here is not just spontaneity, but like to be in the flow, to be guided, to be shown. it is very magical when you just take things step by step and you let things kind of unfold and you don't get mad when, you're stuck in traffic. And instead you have gratitude that like, well, maybe there's a car accident up there that I'm missing out on, or maybe I don't need to be there at this time. And you start opening yourself up to why is the universe operating in this way? And we start asking these questions like, what is the universe? What is God? Whatever your belief is, why is the flow of things taking me in this way? Now, there's a balance here because you can see that, yes, there's a flow of things, but you can also see how she's like busting through this flow and having her own expression inside of it. And I think that's the beauty of the balance is when we start to understand the flow and really connect with it, it also creates an alignment, like a dance, if you will, between what we're getting pulled and pushed to do versus what feels right. Getting in alignment with that feeling and then taking the action in conjunction with the feeling. Okay. So we're just going to ask for anything else related to this reading that's going to help us understand a little bit more of what are we healing and what needs to be done in that process of moving forward. Okay. I'm just going to go here. Focus on the light. So this card here is about focusing on the light. Again, we have a growth cycle here. We have, it looks like a sunflower inside of a sunflower. This almost looks like some sort of looking glass, and she's looking inside. Sorry, let me tilt that a little bit here. There we go. That's better. And then we have this braid kind of showing the longevity and growth cycle of the person itself. We have some kind of darkened leaves that are showing like the changes of season. But the biggest focal point here is her focusing on the light and looking at this and seeing that power of what you're able to grow, of those cycles. So again, we're getting that same flowy energy associated with cycles, moving through things. Now, when we're focused on the light, and the light being not just positive things, because sometimes people, like, be positive. I don't say be positive. I say be creative. Because, to be honest with you, I have a very dark sense of humor. And so being positive isn't always my strong point, but being creative is. And I feel like when we are creative, we get to play with the light. We get to play with this flow. We get to play with the energetics. Now, if you're somebody who works with paints, if you're somebody who does Qigong and meditation, visualization work, you're somebody who's a musician, you know that there is a timing, right? Musicians are able to play together because there's a timing and they all sync themselves to the same time. It's the same rhythm, right? So you sync yourself to this rhythm, and this is the idea. You're able to play around when you have a set rhythm, right? They're all able to play. One person can solo while someone else holds down that rhythm with the paint. Like certain paints mix well together. If you mix it in the wrong order, it just turns into brown paint or something, right? Or, I've watched videos of people painting and how they do it in layers. And so there's a certain, what's the word, like process. There's a certain kind of way to do things, let's say. There's, let's say, like a groundwork or foundational piece, but once that piece is in play, then you can play with it. You can do different things with it. You can really step into that. So there is a foundational piece coming in here of you needing to kind of set the groundwork in something. Set the groundwork in what you're doing. Align with some kind of flow. Align with some kind of natural structure. Then you can play. Then you can have fun. Then you can work the energy. Then you can, dance to the rhythm kind of thing. But if there isn't any rhythm, you may be out there doing the funky chicken and nobody knows exactly what you're doing, right? So there's a saying about that, I think. People who couldn't hear music or something thought those that danced were crazy. I don't know the exact saying, but it's something along those lines. Like if you couldn't hear music, then you would think someone who's dancing might be a little off, right? But if you hear the music and you see someone dancing, you can see that connection between the flow, right? Okay, so we're going to pull another card here. And this card is going to help us understand a little bit of, what is our attachment to the outcome? Because sometimes our attachment to the outcome is negative. Like sometimes we're like, I want to make $10,000 a month. Well, that sounds kind of like a positive outcome, right? But if you are like, let's say you're in a relationship and you're like, I just know he's going to do this and this. I know this and this is going to happen. I know she's going to, you know what I mean? Then we can have an attachment to a negative outcome, that we're going to break up, that it's going to end terribly. Or even in situations with investment, I'm going to lose money. Somebody's going to take something from me. Sometimes our fear, we're not even realizing that we're creating a fearful attachment to an outcome. So it's not always like our particularism in getting something done the way we want it to. Sometimes it's just a lack of awareness around what our intentions are around an outcome. You know, is there a fear there? I'm going to lose money. I'm going to, you know, they're going to break my heart. Is there, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a matter of kind of looking at that, going within, aligning, listening, and focusing on what's going on inside of there. Where is your intention? Wayne Dyer has a book, a beautiful book called The Power of Intention. And I love it because he really spends a lot of time and energy in that book helping you align with your intentions, to hear yourself very clearly. What are you intending when you're doing something? You know, some people, they'll take like guitar lessons, let's say, and they'll be like, I'll never be good at this. You know, or they go into a game and they're like, I'm just going to lose. And it's like, well, then why even bother, right? Like, the idea is to set yourself up for a good experience, whether that's, you know, I may lose, but I'm going to learn something from this. I may get my heart broken, but I'm going to enjoy the moment. You know, it's that kind of vibration. All right, so I'm like, enough of that. I kind of I start channeling, and it just comes out, you know. Okay, so here we have the healer, which is beautiful because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about healing. We're talking about healing. So you may be a healer, you may be working with a healer, or this may be a phase in your life where the vibration of healing is very important to you. And it could also be that, because it came up before, where sometimes we make decisions and then we have an outcome that we don't necessarily like. You know, we feel like I made a mistake. I regret this. I should have done that. I should have done this, right? And so the healing part of this comes in with forgiving ourselves. And it's an interesting thing, because when I've worked with people with this, it's like, okay, let's say that you think you made a mistake and that you made the wrong choice. And maybe in the moment you did the best you could with what you had, right? I honestly feel like people do the best with what they have. Even if somebody's vindictive or mean, I think that that's where they're at. That's the vibration, that's the wounds, that's whatever they're operating from. So that's what, you know, I think Wayne Dyer says it, you know, if you squeeze an orange, what comes out? You know, orange juice, you're not going to get pineapple juice or apple juice from an orange, right? So the idea is, like, you know, we're doing the best with what we can. So the idea is, you know, we can have regrets around things, but a lot of times regret, meaning redo, review, all the stuff, means that it's already been done. And so when we review it, when we look back, that's where we, you know, have the regrets. That's where we feel like we should have done something different, right? But I believe that hindsight is 20/20. So you can't quite see yet the outcome. You can't quite see, you haven't reached 20/20 yet, you know, to see, like, you know, that person broke your heart because that wasn't your person. That person was helping to prepare you for your person, and you haven't even met your person yet. So when you do meet that person, then you go, that's why it didn't work out. Not because I made this mistake, not because I did or didn't do something, but because this is what I was destined for. This was what was coming next, right? Sometimes our businesses go bankrupt, or we get fired, and then we end up in, you know, being an entrepreneur, or we end up in a job we really love. Well, why did that happen? Because this needed to happen. And sometimes we get stuck and stagnant, and we're not in any kind of flow. You see how it's like there's this kind of egg energy going on here, and then you have like this three-headed serpent vibration coming in. It's like sometimes there needs to be a stimulation of growth, let's say. And that can be fearful, but it can also be very necessary, right? So we're going to pull another one of these circular archetype cards to get a little bit more energy and clarity around the healer here. And then we have the threshold. And I love how similar in color these are here. and how this almost looks like a snake too. Like it's almost like if you were standing on the edge of that, right? It's very much in alignment here. Now, the reason why I love this is because it's like you are on the threshold of something. Either you've recently gone through some kind of like big changes that you've had to overcome. But I also see this as like when they say like take a leap of faith, like that you're on the edge of something and you need to move forward, right? I can also see this too almost as like a fire energy, and this person's kind of nested away in that fire energy looking into it. Now the fire, I heard this really cool thing about fire and like meditating on a candle, because one thing that I really love doing is watching fires and meditating on the candle, the dancing flame of the candle. And I read or I heard that when you gaze into a candle, that it sets the dance of the candle basically sets your brain to like I think theta frequency or alpha frequency, and then it will release different chemicals in your body, right? And I thought that's fascinating. Anyways, so that's kind of coming up here about having these outside experiences that change you chemically, that maybe change you, what's the word, cellularly, right? Because there is all kinds of chemistry. There's hormonal chemistry and like all kinds of stuff going on in our bodies based upon external stimulation, okay? So I think this is beautiful. I'm going to ask about the space in between these two cards because it seems very transitory. This almost seems like an egg with all these different visions, like here's one way of looking, here's another way, here's another, and then what is the steps or actions that want to be taken. So that just flew right out. And so here we have this vibration of community. So this is coming together. Now, particularly this looks like the vibration of sisterhood, but this could be, it's like the feminine coming together. And when I see this, I see, this connection to the stars, this connection to dreams coming true, but needing a community, needing each other, helping one another, having each other's backs, right? So the Three of Cups typically is like a celebration energy, but here it's almost like they're in a lavender field and everything's very lilac-y, lavender, very peaceful. And so this idea of community. So maybe, see here, she's alone. You have an image of a feminine energy that's alone, always alone, right? Then here you start getting the three-headed coming in as one. And then you have the three here, the three feminine energies coming in is in one picture. So it's the idea of three becoming one, or the idea of community. You can think of a triangle, how, like a pyramid, how foundationally sound that is. So there's something here about bringing a community. You don't have to do it alone, is what's coming in. And that may also be why you need to release the attachment to the outcome. Because sometimes if you've been living your life thinking it's all on your shoulders, you have to do it alone, then you're not thinking, oh, I can delegate to this person. Oh, this person could help me with this. And that it could be something beautiful that you're all working towards together, even if you have three different visions inside of the bigger picture. Does that make sense? It's like, see, you have three snakes, you have three different eyes, three different visions inside of a circle that is like being protected by all three. You have the same thing here. They're all looking up at the stars together. She may be wishing on this one, she may be wishing on this one, and she may be wishing on that one. But it's the idea that we're together, and the outcomes may be different for each individual experiencing what's happening here. So that's really a beautiful message. It's channeling through very strongly and very beautifully. Okay, so let me just ask about this threshold. So what is the threshold that needs to be crossed at this time? Yep. And just as Spirit would have it, we've got another three. And see here, this is the Three of Pentacles, and you can see, three people working together. So this looks like, they're weaving this tapestry together. They're bringing through, the throat chakra, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, so creative energy, finances, safety and security, and expressing yourself, right? You have the masculine with the green heart chakra energy. You have the two feminines here with a little bit more of that earthy energy. So there's a lot of that coming through in this. Can we still see? I kind of need to maybe move these over a little bit. So you can see with this, we got a lot of threes. So 333, if that's a number that's coming up for you a lot recently, That's like a master builder number. That's a foundational number. That's a number for community. So very strongly, you have 333. So I'm getting very strongly that maybe the vision isn't complete because it doesn't just include you. Other people are going to come in, they're going to make suggestions, you're going to collaborate, and that's going to greatly change the outcome. Now, I feel like there is a bit of a warning here, and this could be part of your healing process too, where maybe it's coming in as singular in the beginning because maybe you've had some issues with how the outcome, when you're collaborating or you're co-creating shared reality with somebody, right? If you're in a relationship, it's not just you, it's your partner as well, right? If you are in a, community of any kind, you're in a family, everyone is working together or potentially working against each other in reaching a particular outcome. So that could be part of what needs to heal, is that fear that, someone else is going to come in and screw it up, or they're not going to listen to you or hear you or see you or that sort of thing too. So the next vibration coming in is patience. Your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. Okay? And I really feel like also, it may also need for you to be open to allowing others to come in and assist. Because again, we have this patience with one person while the dream's unfolding. But imagine if you had a bunch of people in the garden, what could be done, And something that I love about people that are good networkers, people that are good leaders, is they are able to get people to work together. Or, not even get people to work together, but attract people that enjoy working together. Okay, we're going to ask for another card here. Divine order. So there's definitely a divine timing here. This says everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order, which goes back to the original message of us wanting things to be a certain way at a certain time. And if it's not so, and it's not in alignment with everything else, it isn't going to happen. Like it can be. I think things can be forced. We can force things to happen, but to what extent, I'm really not clear on from what I've seen in my own life. And then again, here we go with the leadership energy. We have this beautiful energy. Remember I said it sounds like an angel, sounding the trumpets when I twisted my seat and it made a weird sound. It says it's time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. So very strongly it's coming through that, you need to work with other people. You need to guide them. You need to, maybe step out of this vibration of singularity and step into a bigger vibration of community. And that could be what needs to heal in order for the attachment to the outcome to change, in order for the outcome to change in general, So we're just going to ask for a couple more cards here about the outcome. What kind of outcome do we see? What kind of outcome? Or let me do this. How can what do we need to change in our intentions, or what kind of intentions do we need to set to have the highest outcome that we can? So productivity, being productive, chipping away at things on a daily basis. The next is focus, which we had that already, focus on the light, making sure your focus is where it needs to be. Again, that way you can pay attention to the little signs and the little things that are coming up for you. The tiny little pieces of guidance that are going to get you to where you need to be in the right place at the right time. Success. I think this is the underlining idea that that success isn't just financial. Success isn't just one thing. Success could be just working together, communicating effectively, being productive, being able to focus on something for a minute. You know what I mean? Gratitude is coming in to bring lots of love and gratitude. This is the pink rose. So this is the softest rose. This is the rose of self-love. Very pink. I can smell it. It's so beautiful and soft and feminine, Then we also have a beautiful pink geranium here. Another beautifully fragrant, amazingly powerful, yet soft and feminine self-care, self-love energy. And then let's see if there's one more card that we want to pull before we end the reading. Here we go. And we have tranquility with the violet. So this has been your reading. Oh, the one on the bottom is protection. So we have, and again, that triangle energy here. So what I'm getting from this reading, this has been your reading. I mean, it's amazing. There's just so much to take away from this. blessings as you heal through this process, and your outcome comes into realization. You're able to see things very clearly. You're able to work and collaborate with others so that this vision can be actualized. You stay in alignment with service and with purpose. And this has been your reading and your healing session. Thank you so much. If this resonates, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to book a personal reading, just check out that description box below. Thank you so much and have a great day.